Hello everybody, good morning, welcome to the United Stand. I'm live with Ben Foster, talking all the latest Man United news. We're going to be talking Marcus Rashford BALLON d'Or, what's going on in the dressing room with the ownership, what's going on in the dressing room in relation to these amazing tactical decisions of Erik ten Hag, and also I suppose we may as well talk about whether we're back in a title race, although I don't want to be in one, Ben. Good weekend?
Yeah, really good weekend. We did our podcast live on Friday night, which was really good. I got a lovely video of you sort of stacking it on stage, which was phenomenal. But weekend was good, mate.
The
nice
trip
and
video
quiet.
is not out, is it?
The what? Sorry,
the slip.
It's not out yet, but it will be at some point today.
Oh, it does exist.
It does exist. Definitely exists. But yeah, good weekend, mate. Really enjoyed it.
And a good result for Manchester United.
Yeah.
Leeds. I actually think that's a great result for Manchester United. And I think the thing I wanted to get into as an ex-player yourself, how does this keep happening? Look, Harry Maguire didn't play particularly well yesterday. A couple of other players were a bit off. And yet, clean sheet, 2-0 win. Leeds probably should have done a little bit better, but as soon as he makes those subs on the 60th minute, and they're not obvious subs, he moves Weghorst to 10, he just changes his centre-back, moves his left-back across, Garnacho comes on, and United could have had 4 goals, ended up 2-0. Bit of insight and also your observations. How does Ten Hag keep doing that with a tired team? How does he keep making these tactical changes? Because this is brand new to United fans, this constant tactical changing of games that win us games.
First of all, it's a fantastic win because away at Leeds is a difficult place to go at the best of times. Honestly, it really, really is. Especially when you're Man United and it's a Sunday afternoon kickoff and the crowd are absolutely baying for blood.
Their cup final, isn't it?
This is their cup final. This is the big one for Leeds United fans. So to come away from that, I thought this had 0-0 written all over it. Genuinely, I thought this is going to be a 0-0 draw. And you know what? Even that would have been an okay.
That
would
would
have been.
Took it, but it would have
been an okay result, and you could have understood it. So to come away and not only with a clean sheet, 3 points, 2 goals, and in the end absolutely battered them. Do you know what I mean? They had disallowed goal at the end, all that kind of stuff. It's an absolutely fantastic result, but. It's good to see. We spoke earlier in the season about United not really having the strength in depth and the quality on the bench to be able to come on and change games.
Which I don't think they have.
But they did on Sunday. They did yesterday because even the likes of like Garnacho, you know, when Leeds have battled for 70, 80 minutes of the game and they're tired and when somebody like Garnacho comes on, who's still, for me, very raw, he's still very raw. I still don't think he knows what he's doing half the time, but he is just blessed with this ability and this pace and this skill. So it's almost like they just want him to just have the ball and just go, mate. Go on, just run. You might not make the best decisions all the time, but the goal that he scored when he came on was fantastic, honestly. And
the keeper with the eyes, talk us through that.
He did beat the goalie with the eyes.
Post glitch.
A lot of people will always say this near post goalie shouldn't get beaten by the near post, but when it hits the post and goes in, right, and he's got the whole goal to aim for, it's very, very hard to cover your whole goal. So that for me is not nowhere near a goalkeeper error or anything like that. It's just a fantastic finish.
Yeah, fantastic result. And I suppose you're talking about the depth there. Look, 7 points clear of Spurs, I believe now, with a game in hand.
Yeah. I think 5 clear of Newcastle, 4 or 5 clear of Newcastle as well.
Yeah.
Which is, like I say, if you'd have said this 3 months ago, mate, wow. The fact that we're going to come on to it about the title challenge and possibilities, and I still think we're 22 games into the season. Do you know what I mean? We've still got like 16 games left to go. And anything can happen in that, it really can.
Well, I said on Saturday night before Man United even played that there didn't seem to be any real fight for 4th place.
Yeah.
Brighton, Fulham and Brentford doing really well, but Spurs, Chelsea, Liverpool, they should be the challengers and they're just not able to do it. But I think there will be a drop-off from United at some point because it's illogical that they can just keep playing the way they are week in, week out, 3 times a week. But that is a big... They're either comfortable top 4 or they are outside title challenges we were talking a bit, because 7 points gap from 5th place.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not just... you've played the game. How many... That's just not... Even if United lost 3 games, 9 points, it's not like Spurs are going to win the 3 games to make it up, is it? It's a very significant gap in a competitive league. That's a lot of losses.
I think that's probably sort of like a pessimistic, negative way of looking at it. I think what Ten Hag will probably be getting them to do is look the other way around and go, listen, we're only a few points off top here, lads. We're literally a few points behind Arsenal. We keep this up, the pressure will start to mount on them, and you can already see it. Like Arsenal, they were lucky to get away at the weekend with a draw. Brentford had so so many chances. Man City, obviously, they look very, very good yesterday, I won't lie. But this is what you need to be doing. You need to be looking the other way and going, actually, we keep this going, then we can get ourselves into a fight where it's a 3-horse race. Like, everybody wants to see a 3-horse race for the Premier League, don't we? I've enjoyed this season, not only just for United, but for everything. Like, even the relegation zone, the middle of the table, all that kind of stuff. This team's in the middle of the table who might think they're safe on 25 points. They're still only 6-7 points off the relegation zone themselves, and that's the beauty of this league this season.
Yeah, I did think it was a bit of a weird team selection, but I really do think he had one eye on Barcelona, because Varane didn't start, Martinez can't play against Barcelona, and he didn't start, and he brought Maguire in, which I think was a bit rotational and a risk. And look, maybe Leeds should have got something out of it, but I think on 65 minutes, he obviously had that plan to just completely change it, and the formation changed. Rashford went down the middle. He's certainly not a manager that, when he says, I take it game to game and I want to win every game, it's very obvious that he does have a sort of strategy for every game. What's that like in the dressing room when you've got a manager like that who can just change things? And,
that's good.
Obsessed.
That's exactly what you want. You don't want the manager to just sort of have a plan A and that's it all the time, and the ones that are going to be starting. That can cause a bit of unrest amongst the players just by itself, when it's sort of guaranteed that it's going to be the same players starting every single week, regardless.
Ollie ball.
Exactly that. So you need to be able to freshen it up now and then. Like I say, the Barcelona game on Thursday, I was exactly the same as you. I saw the starting lineup, I thought, oh, Harry Maguire's starting. Okay, this will be interesting to see how he does. Because, like I say, honestly, you don't understand how hard it is to go to Leeds and get a result. The fans get up for that like crazy. So I thought it was going to be a big game for Harry Maguire. And I know a lot of people would have said, sometimes his distribution, this and that wasn't fantastic. But I still thought he was all right. I thought he was solid enough. Do you know what I mean?
I just think he got a lot of pelters in the United fan base, and, I think I gave him a 5 out of 6, so just below. But he makes the team nervous.
I know what you're saying.
And he makes the team play different, and I think that is infectious. And also, I think Bruno had a worse game.
Yeah.
And I think there's a bit of a, you bring a player, I was going to ask you about this. Maguire starts, no problem, wasn't terrible, wasn't great, but you give him a captain's armband and he walks onto the pitch and he's this and this. He's not been captain of the team for 3 months, but then the normal captain's on the pitch.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that's weird.
Bruno has a bad game, and you think, but he's led this team on this run for 3 months.
Yeah.
Maguire comes in against Leeds and he's there pointing, and it's like, there's too many cooks, isn't there, really?
Yeah, I didn't like that at all. I think when you've got the player on the pitch that has been captain pretty much all season, you keep him as captain. I think even Harry Maguire, honestly, I think this is where Harry Maguire should have gone, nah, boss, Bruno's been the captain, leave him with the captain's armband. And I think that's how it should have gone down. So I didn't really understand that decision, to be honest with you.
But it didn't matter in the end, we got the win.
It was a great win in the end. But again, though, it speaks volumes of how much Ten Hag actually appreciates Luke Shaw being able to fill in at centre-back. Yeah. The fact that he would just put him happily alongside him. He could have started Martinez, Varane could have gone, but he went with them too. And I thought, well, fair dues to him. I think these are the sort of games that if you can get through and win, then it's massive bonus points. It is. It's absolutely massive bonus points. But it was all about the decisions that the manager made in sort of 60, 70, 80 minutes to freshen it up and bring these exciting players on with a bit more energy, a bit more pace. Fantastic win. Big shout out to David De Gea though as well, the foot save at 0-0. Yet again, people giving a dog's abuse for his distribution, by the way, which is ridiculous because it is what it is. It's not the end of the world yet, but when you've got a goalie you can rely on to make big saves at big moments. At 0-0,
if they Leeds score first, you're not going to get that win, are you?
No chance on that. No chance on the surface. Leeds score a goal there, they are parking the bus. That would have been the most difficult game to try and get back into, but he made the save. United went on and won the game. Simple.
First foreign player to hit 400 appearances in the Premier League. One more clean sheet and he equals Peter Schmeichel's record, which I'm sure Schmeichel played less games, but he played in a team that basically won every week. Yeah. Whereas the last 10 years has been ridiculous for David De Gea, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's been a tough shift. We spoke about this on Friday night. We were asked a question about who would most likely be the next English Ballon d'Or winner. Obviously you went for Bellingham, and I just went a bit thought it through a little bit and went, I wouldn't be surprised if Marcus Rashford won it. And the whole room sort of went, I tell you what, the goal yesterday was fantastic.
Yeah.
He's scoring with his head, he's scoring with his feet.
The disallowed goal was really beautiful as well, the one that he put right across in the corner. Oh, beautiful finish.
So clean with the finish. He's a striker, he plays for Manchester United. They're going to be in the Champions League next year. They're on a trajectory to be winning trophies. Yeah. And his brand is immaculate. That ticks virtually every box to be a Ballon d'Or contender.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Marcus Rashford's on the same category as some of the best players in the world, but you take Messi and Ronaldo out of the equation, which we're having to live in that world now, there becomes a vacuum. Over the next 2 years, if Marcus Rashford plays like that, I know it's an odd thing to say, because a year ago I was saying sell him like a lot of United fans. You know, his brother's off to PSG talking to them, and, you know, football changes. Massive respect to Rashford and the workload he's put in, and Ten Hag. And I genuinely, I'm not saying it to wind people up, I'm not saying there's a big chance, but, you know, everyone thinks Bellingham's probably 2 or 3 years off winning it. The next English player to win the Ballon d'Or at the moment, I think you've got to talk Rashford, Saka. Those two are probably the two standout players. And Rashford's scoring goals week in, week out in every competition. Yeah,
I know what you're saying. He's got to be within the question. Do you know what I mean? I think when this, you know, the voting thing that goes around every year, the thing that you hate because footballers just tick it because they can't be asked.
They put Harry Kane on the right wing, don't they?
They'll put Harry Kane on the right hand side. But yeah, it will definitely be on the list. Do you know what I mean? I just think that there's...
This is a very tickable, even with the talent, but he's also a very tickable... His safe option, isn't he? He's got there's no drama behind him. He's
always in the
lad.
news. It's always clean. It's always all that kind of stuff.
Imagine FIFA loving him. UEFA, other dressing rooms.
The only thing is, I just think he's probably not kind of a silky enough footballer, if that makes sense. Most of the time, for me, the Ballon d'Or, when it hasn't been Ronaldo,
you've got to be elite.
You have got to be a baller. You've got to be one of these. It's almost like it's man-made for like a midfielder that's just effortless on the ball and just glides with it, and Luka Modric-esque, all that kind of stuff. And no, I know what you're saying. I just think there's probably, even in the striker position, there's probably 3 or 4 ahead of him, even at this moment in time, the likes of Haaland or Osimhen at Napoli. So that would be my worry. But I know what you're saying. I totally agree. I think he's got to be in the reckoning a little bit.
Goldbridge, controversial takes.
That's not that controversial. I don't think that's that controversial.
You just said it won't happen.
Yeah, no, I ain't saying it's going to happen, but I can understand the sentiment.
On the bandwagon now, you see. Look, let us know in the chat. Some people think it's controversial. I think it is, but actually I think it's quite logical as well.
Yeah.
It could happen.
Yeah.
Want to talk about this because you've played for a lot of clubs, some of them quite unstable, Watford, Birmingham. Manchester United are going into a huge week, and I'm sure people will want to know your opinions on this. Sir Jim Radcliffe, Ineos, you probably know him from cycling and stuff like that. Manchester, from the area, Manchester United fan, publicly wants to buy the club. Talk that he might need a little bit of financial help and backing. And then you've got probably quiet bids that we're not aware of, but Qatar want to buy it. They own PSG. They're finding a way to put it into another plot to come and buy Man United. I was told yesterday, I think it's been on the morning show as well, by 2 people. One of them was just a random, I was like, whatever. But the second one was very easy to trace where the information was coming from. So if they're wrong, I can easily say, well, what are you on about? That Qatar bid, Qatar will own Man United.
It's a genuine thing.
If they bid, and they can bid, they will get Man United because they want it and they've got more money than anyone else. So how does that, first of all, what are your thoughts on that? And second of all, what is this like when you're in the dressing room?
Yeah.
You know, Man United, as a manager, you'll be like, oh yeah, rub my hands together, I can compete. As a player, do these things bother you?
No, not really. No. They don't. It doesn't enter our sphere, to be perfectly honest with you. When you're playing for Man United, you know that you have to be on it every single week or else you're going to be out the team. It's as simple as that. So whether it's a £70 million player that's alongside you or it's a £150 million player, you have to be on your game. It's as simple as that. I'd be really disappointed if United sold it to Qatar. I really, really would. I think... No, I think it just loses its charm a little bit. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like you've started Championship Manager and you've got that sugar daddy sort of glitch enabled where you've just got all the money, and it's not cheating, but I just don't like how it's just too easy.
But don't you? I agree, but my stance has always been that is what you need. No, I'm not backing the Qatar bid, but what I am backing is that if you want to succeed, we need billions spending on a new stadium. Arguably £500 million on the team, and the Glazers have run it so far down that you cannot get Man United back off the revenue. You've got somebody with a lot of wealth has got to come in, and you could argue that that's the way the Premier League's gone now as well.
No, I get it, but I still don't like it.
Oh no,
do you know what I mean? I don't like it. if you've got a Newcastle who were bought over by a local Geordie businessman who did it the right way and do it like the way that they're looking at doing it, but it was slowly and steadily and gradually, then there's something really sort of charming about that, and you can get behind it and go, that's really nice, that's a real success story. If Sir Jim Radcliffe bought Manchester United, like you said, Manchester United fan, local lad, all that, I think that is the best way to do it, the better way to do it, and I think it'll appeal to Man United fans a lot more as well. But you don't want to get to a situation where they've got 200 million quid spare to spend on any single player they want, and it's just like, go and get him, and then you don't really have the connection to the players then, I think. You know what I mean? It's like a revolving door. There's new players coming in all the time, old players going out all the time. You never really get that kind of bond or connection. I think that's what Man United have built their whole success story over, is doing it the right way. So yeah, I'd be super disappointed if they did go Qatar.
He's a localist.
No, it's true though, isn't it? It is. It would lose its charm. It's got to a little bit.
I'm not really bothered about a local United fan owning it. I'm bothered about it keeping its integrity and what Manchester United is all about. You know, I think the fan base, it's not the Glazers that have kept the Busby Babes and the 58s, you know, every year. That's kept by the fantastic
the people that are at the club and have worked at the club forever.
And I'm not talking about the groups. There's fantastic people who work within the club. That needs to stay. You don't want to lose your soul. But we saw the Super League last week, didn't we? I think that it's all about the money in football now. And when it's all about the money, this is when you start to get Middle East, American consortiums. And I mean, Bournemouth's just been bought by an American consortium. It's like, crazy. And Bournemouth can only get 11,000 people in the ground, and they've been bought by an American consortium. So it just tells you, what are they thinking? Like,
it's not. That's what I mean. It's not about the stadiums and what teams make on match days now from the stadium doesn't even touch the sides. It's all about TV money and sponsorship money, and that's what it's about nowadays. Because the Premier League is such a global brand. It's the biggest sport in the world. Everybody wants a piece of that pie now.
There you go. Title race finally. I can't remember how many points we are after. I think we are probably 5 or 6 points behind Arsenal.
Let me have a look.
They've definitely got a game in hand anyway. I think they've got 2 games in hand now, actually. And you know what? I think United are now getting to a position where we're comfortably top 4. Yeah. So you start looking up, which is right.
Yeah.
But I think Arsenal and Man City would have to start dropping a lot of points for United, and United would have to keep winning. I think it might just be a step too far, and every time we start talking about the title race, we go and lose a game anyway. Overall.
Yeah, I know, but so 2 points off Man City.
A lot of games to go though.
2 points off Man City, they've got a game in hand, and 5 points behind Arsenal, and they've got 2 games in hand. But I know what you're saying, but you think about the Leeds game last week and the Crystal Palace game a few weeks before it, you pick up 6 points from them 2 games, that's another 4 points on the total. That would put you in second position, a point behind Arsenal. That's what we're talking about, and that can happen at any time. I agree that anybody in that top 3, them 3 especially, can go on a run. Anyone can. Man United, Man City and Arsenal can go on a big long run of winning games, 5, 6, 7 games. So nothing would surprise me in this Premier League. Nothing would surprise me. And it's good to see that because I buzz off it.
I love it. I mean, imagine if Eric Ten Hag won the title with his first
ridiculous
season.
This would be probably the most impressive Premier League win in Man United's history if they win this one this season, without doubt.
I think the only thing in the Premier League that jumps to mind is that Ranieri with Leicester, because I think that was remarkable. But we will see. We've got Leicester next week, actually, funny enough.
Tough game, Sunday. Real tough game, because Leicester have had a massive upturn in form, 8 goals in the last 2 games, just firing on all cylinders. It's looked like they finally found a way of playing. It's kind of, I saw them against Tottenham, they're just attacking the life out of them. Honestly, they were fantastic. So this is not an easy game, not at all.
Bigger game, Barcelona on Thursday. Just quick thoughts on that at the new camp. I don't keep an eye on La Liga anymore. I've lost interest, but I think they're 11 points clear at the top, playing absolutely fantastic. People go either way on that, but at the end of the day, it just depends how good La Liga is compared to the Prem. That's the thing that people go, oh, it's Barcelona, but it depends where La Liga stands against the Prem.
Yeah, I think if you didn't have Casemiro in the side, or Varane, or David De Gea, I would worry a little bit. I think the United players would get overawed by the new camp. It would be a big occasion, and this would be a bit of a nervy affair.
Casemiro is going to absolutely love this.
It wouldn't surprise me, honestly, if you didn't have them players. It would be a 2-3 comfortable nil for Barca. But when you've got them players in your team, mate, honestly, these are the guys that everybody turns and looks to and goes, yeah, let's have this, lads. Let's have this. You know what I mean? Casemiro, let's have this. And everybody will feed off that energy. And I could see this being a tight affair, a genuinely tight affair. It wouldn't surprise me if it's a 1-1 draw or something like that.
There we go.
That'd be a fantastic result, by the way.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. It's going to be great. Give us a prediction.
Yeah, I'm going to go 1-1 draw. I will. I'll go 1-1 draw. Take it back to Old Trafford and then do them on a 1-0, 2-1. These are the games where you need Scholesy stepping up and 30 yards out and just drilling it in the, you know what I mean, back of the schnitzel or something like that.
Was you on the bench that night?
I was on the bench that night, actually.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
what
nice.
Best seats in the
I think
house?
I was either on the bench or just behind the bench, and not on the bench, but I was one or the other anyway.
Brilliant. Thanks for coming on as always, Ben.
Pleasure,
Cracking
mate.
points.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for watching. Check us on Ben Foster's channel, Football Feeling, later on, and I'll speak to you later. Thanks for watching.